masochists. Welcome back to another installment of r/no sleep. Today, from author Late Night Landon, the sequel to I Don't Think the Gas Station I Work At Is Normal. The title, I still don't think the gas station I work at is normal. It's got a lot of good comments. I appreciate Late Night Landon letting us do it. We're gonna go ahead and dig in. There's no way to sugarcoat this. I almost died Sunday night. And at this point, I've given up on believing last week's encounter was just a one-off thing. There's something seriously wrong with this place, and I think I'm officially far too deep to claw my way back out. Okay, I need to calm down and write my thoughts clearly. If you have no idea who I am, I would recommend that you go read the previous post. But if you don't want to catch up, just know that I work the night shift at a gas station at the edge of town where weird things are starting to happen. After putting out my last post, I got some much needed sleep and the rest of my day went smoothly. As I mentioned at the end of my previous post, I ended up leaving an hour early for work. I wasn't sure if I would learn anything new, but it was worth a try. When I got into my car, the radio sprang to life talking about the local killings plaguing the area. People have been found with their entrails sprawled out from their stomachs and their right eye removed. I'll tell you, it's some scary shit. Luckily, it had nothing to do with me. Nothing as of yet. Once I got to work, I met up with the guy who was working. I found out his name is Jacob. If I could choose one word to describe him, it would easily be stoner. Got an idea of what it looks like in your head? Great, because you're dead on. He wore a slightly dirty hoodie with jeans and a beanie pulling his entire outfit together. Other than that, he's a pretty cool guy. None of that matters though. I only had one question I needed to ask him. Yo, Jacob, have you ever seen anything weird around the gas station? I asked bluntly. Beating around the bush was never my forte. Raising his eyebrow, he placed his finger on his chin as I could see him racking his brain for an answer. Nothing I can really think of off the top of my head, although there is that weird dog hanging around the woods, replying bluntly. I couldn't help but to raise my own eyebrow at his response. Weird dog? What weird dog? I asked. You know, man, that hairless dog that hangs around right on the edge of the woods. It's pretty weird. It's got all white skin and these bright orange eyes. It's whatever though, probably a stray. A part of me couldn't believe what I was hearing. The other part of me couldn't believe he was sharing this so calmly. My mouth hung slightly agape as the only thing I could muster was a light, huh. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here since you showed up. Have a good night, man. Waving me off, he left the store, left alone with my thoughts in the now empty store. I couldn't help but to let my feelings known to the dead air around me. Oh, come on, am I being pranked right now? Fortunately for me, the rest of that night went smoothly without any unwanted visitors from the grave. In all honesty, the rest of the week flew by without any new visitors gunning for my head, although that doesn't mean nothing happened at all. After talking with a few of you, I received the idea of putting a line of salt across the front door of the store, as this was a way to ward off entities. Now I'm going to be honest, it sounded like the stupidest idea I've ever heard, but hey, I'd rather test something and look like an idiot instead of dying, so I went ahead and laid a line out on Thursday night. Around 1:30, a customer opened the door before looking down, noticing the thin line of salt. I could see him out of the corner of my eye stop and think for a moment before turning to me. Is that salt? He asked, perplexed. Not looking away from my book, I answered unassumed. Sure is, responding clearly amused. Why? Ants? You guys have an ant infestation? Nope, but it could happen. The man finally gave up with a shrug before finishing his business inside and leaving. I can't say it worked or not. However, I can at least say nothing happened in the few days I tried the line of salt out. Maybe I needed to try it again. Oh, there were a couple of you who recommended a book series to me from a guy named Jack, as my experience sounded very similar to some of the stuff he experienced while working at a gas station. I'm only through the first bit of book 1, and good God, that guy is being put through the ringer. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to apply anything he has described to what I am going through, but I'll keep reading to see what else I can try and grasp. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Let me explain what happened last weekend. Let me preface everything with the fact that I've felt incredibly paranoid these last couple of days. It feels like someone has been watching my every move day in and day out. The problem is that every other day I felt like I was being watched from afar. Then Saturday night, it felt as though the person was breathing down my neck. I should have been on high alert all night, however, things never seemed to work out in my favor. Sunday marked my 21st birthday. Regularly, this is a monumental occasion, but with everything that has been going on, it would have slipped my mind if it weren't for a couple of my friends. Because of that, I ended up in a local hole in the wall a couple hours before work with a couple of my boys. So while they were busy getting shit-faced, I resigned myself to just a single beer. Even so, it was still a great time. Well, that was before the first red flag of the night reared its ugly head, which I promptly ignored. It was around 9 when Tyler, with a heavy slur in his speech, turned to me. "I just don't get it, Landon. What do you have I don't?" Turning my attention to him, I produced my best "huh?" face before responding. "Tyler, what the hell are you talking about? You're drunk," waving him off before returning to my drink. "Are you really that oblivious? That girl back there's been staring at you since we got here." As he finished, he gestured behind me with his eyes. Swallowing the pit in my throat spawned out from a mixture of fear and nervousness. I gingerly turned in the direction he gestured to only be met with an empty table. "Oh yeah, very funny. Don't get my hopes up like that." Giving him a light punch in the shoulder before picking my beer up to finish the last bit. Although as I tilted the glass up, I noticed light bubbling within the liquid. Stupidly, I still finished it off. "I don't know, man. That's weird. I just saw her over there. She did walk right up behind you when you were talking about that weird feeling you've been having the last couple of days. Oh well." Shrugging, he continued to drink, although for me, his statement left me feeling incredibly disturbed. Still, I shrugged it off as a drunk man rambling and let the night end like that. However, for me, my nightmare had only just begun. Upon leaving my house, I couldn't shake the nagging sensation of being watched from the depths of my brain. Even once I reached the gas station, the sensation never left. Having to just grunt and bear it, I quickly made my way into the pitch black building, unlocking the door and switching on the lights as I entered. Let me quickly explain how our gas station operates. We are open 24/5, closing at 10 p.m. Friday to 9 p.m. Sunday. As you can probably guess, I am in charge of opening the station come Saturday night. Honestly, I never look forward to this shift. I always experience an overlooming sense of dread as I stick the key into the front door, almost as though I'm opening Pandora's box. Fortunately for me, there are no mysterious figures waiting for me inside the empty stations, only coolers of drinks, shelves of food, and a note on the counter. A note on the counter? Walking back to the counter, I tossed my backpack to the floor and picked up the note. In thick crimson text, the note read, "Have you ever felt the gaze of another?" In all honesty, I probably had the dumbest, confused look on my face as I read those words over and over in my head. Finally, having enough, I crumpled the note up and threw it into the garbage can beside me before I spoke. "Okay, if there is someone hiding in here trying to play a prank, I will warn you now that I am armed. And if I find you, I will call the police." I produced a small flip knife from my pocket and flipped the blade out. "I am starting my shift by clearing the store of intruders." "Great. Who do you think I am, SWAT?" With that, I began clearing each room, which luckily didn't take long, as there were only 4 in total. I won't bore you with the details, because no one was in there. The bathroom, storage room, and fridge were all cleared of intruders. In the end, I brushed off the note as a prank and finished setting the store up for the night. It was around 12:30 a.m. when I heard a late ringing noise coming from one of the coolers, sighing. I sat my book down on the counter next to my knife and made my way towards the coolers. As I opened the corresponding cooler, the noise suddenly cut as if being connected with the door opening. However, once I closed the door, the ringing was all gone together. Shrugging, I started to turn around and make my way back to my seat as a voice produced in front of me, giving me a mini heart attack. "Excuse me, I have a question," the woman uttered. "Holy God, sorry. You scared the hell out of me right there. I never heard you come in," I responded as I jumped back in fright, trying to catch my breath. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, this woman was absolutely stunning. I would guess she was in her mid-20s, with sleek jet black hair and piercing crimson eyes. She wore a long black dress and black heels. In all, someone that I shouldn't be seeing at the time of night in this part of town. Honestly, I get surprised when I see anyone on this side of town. I didn't mean to frighten you. I'm sorry. I'm looking for something very specific, and I was hoping you would help me find it. She spoke in a soft, sultry voice. It felt though as she was drawing me in with every word she spoke. Yeah, sure I can. What are you looking for? Stuttering lightly as I replied. I continued to keep my eyes locked on the strange woman. Responding to my words, she cracked a small smile and spoke. Well, what I'm looking for isn't the easiest thing to acquire, you see. Although I must say, has anyone told you how beautiful your eyes are? Slightly confused at the sudden compliment, I felt a tinge of fear crawl up my spine. Trying my best to shake it off, I started my reply. I'm sorry, what are... As I spoke, my vision started to spiral and a sense of dizziness overcame me. I started stumbling backwards into the cooler, clutching my head. What's going on? My speech was shaky. As I glanced back at her, I could see her wide-eyed, looking slightly up at me with one hand over her mouth. Oh no, what's wrong, Landon? You look unwell. Time seemed to freeze as my brain panicked, consumed by fear. How does she know my name? My eyes dashed from side to side, looking for an escape before finally landing back on her. She stood like a mountain in front of me. A large, shit-eating grin sat plastered across her face as I could feel her eyes digging burrows into me, as if a predator examining its prey. I slowly inched my hand to my waist, searching for my knife to protect myself. To my horror, I remembered sitting down on the counter when I got up. Cursing myself in my head, I started slowly backing away towards the back room. What's wrong? Don't tell me you're scared of a harmless girl. As she finished, her arm produced a bone-churning crack as a thick black matter spread across her arm, stretching it out and giving her thick, sharp claws as the cherry on top. With that, I didn't care how messed up I was. I wasn't just going to stand here and let her maul me to death. In a split second, I pulled all my strength together and made a break for the back room. I could hear her sprinting right behind me, gaining with every second passed. As terrified as I was, I managed to make it to the door, throwing it open with all my strength before slamming it behind me and locked it before she started wiggling and pulling on the handle to force it open. What the hell is wrong with you? What even are you? My voice started to falter as I slowly inched backwards. I could feel my heart beating faster than I have ever thought it could. It felt though as it would fly out of my chest if given the chance. On the opposite end, I could feel my mind starting to slip into unconsciousness as I stood in the pitch black room, and for a few moments things stood that way. My breathing started to slow as I started to rack my brain for a solution to get me out of this nightmare. That's when I realized I no longer heard any noises coming from outside the door. Man, that's intense. Like camping. I'm recollecting back to whenever he was at the bar and there was a fizzing in the bottom of his drink. Interesting. Is this the woman that his friend seen in the bar as well? Because that all kind of lines up. Where could she have gone? What are you hiding from? Reflexively, I whipped my head towards the source of the noise. But before I even got a chance to react, I felt a hand tightly grip my neck before raising me up and throwing me through the previous locked door. As I flew through the air, I finally landed as my back made contact with the front counter, sending countless items, including myself, crashing to the floor. Face down on the floor, every breath I took felt like stabbing a knife into my spine. As I lay there in agony, my eye caught a glimpse of a shiny object laying directly in front of me. This is my favorite part. Do you know that? Go on and beg for your pathetic life. Maybe I'll listen. Her voice had switched to nothing more than a conceiving holler, flipping me over onto my back, no doubt, to delight in my suffering. I made eye contact with my soon-to-be killer. Her arms were still as long and animalistic as before, but now her legs and heels looked as though they had molded together, stretching to an inhuman length. The right side of her face was now consumed by blackness, causing her eye to bulge and teeth to resemble tiny razor blades. The other side of her face was still completely normal, causing a contrast that gave me more chills than if she was just a horrifying amalgamation outright. Grinning from ear to ear, to whatever was left of her ear, she awaited my reply. Eat a dick. I'd rather die with my pride than beg like a bitch. In retrospect, that probably would have sounded a lot cooler if I didn't have to pause between almost every single word. Still, on the verge of passing out, I knew I didn't have long before my life would be snuffed out. Might as well go out with a bit of dignity. To no one's surprise, however, she did not like this. Reaching down, she gripped my neck and raised me to meet her face to face. If you want me to do that, I will. You will not be getting out of this alive with any sense of your pride still flourishing. This will be hell for you, but heaven for me. So be happy with that. Reaching her other hand towards my stomach, I could feel her claws brush against her soon-to-be canvas. Why? Barely being able to choke out a single word. Why what? Why you? Why kill? Come on. You need to use your words. Letting up her grip just a smudge to let me answer. Why did you let down your guard? A confused expression fell across her face as I muttered up the last bit of strength and plunged the knife I death gripped into her neck. Immediately, I fell crashing onto the floor as I could see black sludge starting to seep out of her neck. My brain finally gave up on me as I started to drift into unconsciousness. I could feel a light warmth start to swell on my wrists as my vision finally went dark. The last thing I heard was a deep, echoey voice say, "Scarlet," with a lighter voice responding to, "Oh no." During my state of unconsciousness, I was enveloped with a dream. I sat at the head of a long table aligned with blacked out figures filling each chair. They were all engaged in conversation I could not hear, some nodding while others flailed their arms in annoyance. After what seemed like minutes, all of them turned to face me in unison, said, "Right, Landon? Landon. 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 Landon!" In an instant, my eyes shot open and I was met with my coworker Jacob shaking me. I was sitting in my chair with a clean store facing directly in front of me. "Come on, man. What are you doing? Be happy I'm opening today. Don't worry, I won't tell the boss you were napping on the job." I don't think I even have their number. Pulling the conversation into a land of nothingness. Still reeling back from still being alive, I tried to keep my cool as I slowly stood up, my back shooting with pain as I did. What time is it? It's 7. I guess you should probably get out of here, huh? Nodding in agreement, I made my unsteady journey to the front door. However, before I could make it, Jacob stopped me. "Hold on, bro. You don't want to leave without this. Also, don't forget, we're hanging out next week." Stretching out his hand, he handed me my knife with the tip of the blade completely black. The only response I could muster was a simple head nod as I took the knife from him and went home. I called off the last 2 days because of this. My back is still killing me, but it's starting to feel better. I can't write this off as a once-off incident anymore. There's something seriously wrong with that gas station, and it might even spread to the rest of the town. I don't know. I'm terrified to go back, yet I feel as though I don't have another choice. I've been going back and forth the last 2 days writing this update, but today I got a call from my boss. He told me that we have someone new starting tomorrow, and that he would like me to train them on the night shift. I don't know what this will entail, but I feel as though any day from now could be my last. After all, I still feel as I'm being watched, even now. Still, I won't die lying down, so I'll be back soon to update you all on the happenings at my gas station. However, if I don't, assume the worst. That's a good sequel to the first one. Definitely different, but still same character and same gas station. I think you should run with it, man. Let's hear part 3. I'm stoked to hear it. I think everybody should go over to Late Night Landon's page here. I'll put a link in the description. Go over there and let them know what you think about the story. I think it was pretty good. Like always, please like and subscribe. I am the Micromasochist. Farewell.